Hello, my people. How y'all doing out there? This is one of my first, well, this is my first video, and I don't do this that often, so please forgive me if my presentation is a little bit off. But today, or in this video, I'm going to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, something that is really near and dear to me. And the reason why I'm going to share this with you, or the reason why I want to share this with you, is because it has made such a big difference in my life. It's been an almost religious experience for me. And I'm going to get right to it. The topic that I'm going to talk about is energy. And to me, energy is the currency of life. Energy is what keeps everything moving, keeps everything going. If your energy is low, you can't love hard. If your energy is low, you can't be as social as possible. If your energy is low, you can't strive to accomplish your goals and do everything that you want to do in your life passionately. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what type of energy are you talking about? Well, the type of energy that I'm talking about is energy that's absolutely free. Energy, you don't have to pay any money for it. All you gotta do is just go step outside and plug into it. And when we think about energy, we usually think about food. We think about food because when we get hungry, what do? We eat, right? We go eat some food, and it gives us energy. But is this really energy? Actually, it's not really energy. It's actually making us more magnetic. It's making us more attractive to energy. And I want you to think about this. Our main source of energy is the sun. And we eat, everything we eat comes from the sun. For example, plants. We eat plants, they come from the sun, and all they need to grow and thrive is sunlight and water. And we have some of these same abilities. We can thrive some of the same ways. We are very similar to a plant, whether we want to believe it or not. And here's an example of one way we're similar to a plant. I want you to think about, I'm going to drop a little science on you, a little chemistry. I want you to think about or actually in a little bit of biology too, and again, I want you to think about some hemoglobin, some blood hemoglobin, and chloroplast. You can Google this and look at the chemical composition of both of them. You'll see that they're very, very similar, but the main difference between the two are the cores. The hemoglobin has a iron core, but the chloroplast the chlorophyll has magnesium core. That's the major difference. So what are the difference between these two cores? Well, one is much more attractive than the other. And what I mean by attractive is one has a bigger negative charge than the other, and that one is the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin has the iron core. The iron core has a bigger attraction. It's more attractive. It can absorb more energy. So that's one lesson here. Be more attractive. Be more attractive. But ironically, in order to be more attractive, you need to be more negative. In this sense, you want to be more negative to be more attractive. Usually we don't really want people to be negative, or we don't want to be in a negative situation. But in this case, you do want that. You absolutely want that. You want to be as negative as possible so that you can be as attractive as possible, and you can absorb as much as possible. Okay, and a plant has a weaker magnet, or a weaker negative charge. Magnetism and negative charge are kind of synonymous. It just means that they attract energy. So where does plants live for a long time? Where do they get this extra energy from? Well, plants, to make up for their lack of negative energy, their lack of magnetism, they tap into the Earth's infinite supply of magnetism, the Earth's infinite supply of negative charge, negative energy, to attract the energy from the sun. So that's how a plant does it, and we can do it too. We have the same ability. Okay, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how we can do it, and how we can, some ways to get the most out of this effect. And if you haven't figured it out by now, if you don't already know, I'm going to talk about grounding. Grounding is basically connecting to the earth, connecting your physical body to the earth to receive the infinite negative charge from the earth, so that you can absorb energy from the energy source, which is the sun. Okay, so how can we ground? What's the best way to ground? The best way to ground is to, of course, go outside. You want to be on a natural surface, but if you're going to be on an artificial surface, cement conducts, but it doesn't conduct as well as soil and the earth. So I try to find some earth to connect with. Take your shoes off, or place your bare body on it, maybe even the palm of your hands, and connect these things. They will help you absorb more energy from the sun. Okay, and how can we become even, what is more magnetic than the dry earth? Wet earth is more magnetic than dry earth, because water conducts electricity better than dryness. Okay, so what's even better than dry earth is wet earth, mud, or wet sand. So get into some of that when you tan, or when you absorb the sun. Okay, what's more effective? What's more negative? What's more magnetic than that? Well, actually getting into a body of water. That's your next best thing, like a river, and even better, an ocean. An ocean is full of electrolytes and is extremely electrical. One of the most electrical places on earth is the ocean. So get into the ocean. So what's the next step after this? How can we make it more efficient? How can we absorb more energy more efficiently? Drop the temperature of the water. So cold water, cold ocean to make it even better. Get into a cold ocean. It'll make you absorb more energy from the sun. But as you know, and as you're probably thinking, that there's seasons, and during the seasons it gets colder, and in some seasons it's hotter. There's more sun, and yeah, it's a balanced system. You can receive energy from all of these seasons. You just have to train your body to be able to deal with all of these situations. That's what we're designed to do anyway. But here's another analogy. Here's something to think about. Okay, the Earth on the equator has strong energy from the sun. It's closest to the sun, so there's lots of energy available, maybe even too much energy, and we may not be able to absorb all of this energy because it's in abundance. Maybe it's too much, so only like specially designed creatures can deal with this, can absorb and get the most benefit from this. And if you move up in latitude toward the poles, it gets colder and colder and colder, but there's less sunlight. And think of the cold as a bigger magnet. And if you just think about it, I mean, the poles are magnetic. The north and south poles are magnets, and ironically they're magnets, and they are the coldest places on Earth. So the colder, the more magnetic. Think about it that way. Okay, but on the equator, you think there would be more life because of all of the energy, but again, there's too much energy, so there's not that much life in comparison to the rest of the Earth. And when I say the rest of the Earth, I'm not just talking about the land. I'm talking about the ocean, because most of the Earth is ocean. So most life is away from the equator. Most life is in the polar seas, where the magnets are strong. So I guess one stands to reason the magnet may be just as important or more important than the actual energy source. Because if we can't absorb this energy, then it's kind of useless. There's no, too much energy can hurt you, and we have to be able to absorb this energy. So we have to have a strong magnet. So I guess you need a balance, unless you're some extreme creature that can deal with these extreme situations, like desert animals or penguins in a Arctic situation. These animals are specially designed, but they're very rare, few and far in between. Okay, and we talked about ways to absorb more energy, to make ourselves more negative, to ground. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, should have mentioned this in the beginning. Food actually doesn't give us energy. Food just actually makes us more negative. It makes us more attractive. What I'm giving you are natural ways to become more negative and be more magnetic and more attractive. And these natural ways will preserve you because they save your body from utilizing its own and from using its own resources to replenish itself and rebuild itself. The more you get this stuff naturally, the better your life will be, the longer you'll live and healthier you'll be. So find alternative fuels to keep you healthy, keep you happy, and fuel your social love life and everything that comes with this wonderful existence. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, okay, so you gave this information, so how can I use this in real life? All right, well, okay, practical uses of this. I don't really want to make this like a tutorial, so I'll just tell you what I do, and you can take it for what it's worth. You can use the information as you see fit. You can experiment with it and see how it works for you. But I'll tell you what I do on a regular basis. Usually a typical day for me, like right now, I wake up in the morning. I get outside. I try to get as much light as possible. So you want to get up pretty early. Don't waste this beautiful currency. Don't waste the opportunity to get this beautiful currency. You know how they say the early bird gets the worm. Well, yeah, that applies in this case. Get outside and get that light. Don't be a night owl. Or if you were a night owl, just still go out and get this light and reset. And tomorrow, go to sleep at a good time. Do yourself a favor and be kind to yourself and your body. Okay, so I get out. As you can see, I get undressed as much as possible, as much as my situation will allow, or the culture that you're in will allow. Reveal yourself to the world, to the sun, to the energy. Allow it to soak in. Even your eyes. Your eyes are a major way to absorb in this divine energy. But that's for another video. I'm going to share with you some insights about that and some of my experiences. Okay, and another thing you can when you're absorbing the sun, when you're doing this, you don't want to jump in too quick. If you spent your whole life, you never do this, and then all of a sudden you try to jump in and do it, you're gonna have adverse reactions probably. So don't do too much at one time. Start slowly. Start at low sun times and gradually build up to strong sunshine times, and gradually raise your time that you spend in the sun and using the sun. And what else do I do? Oh yeah, I make myself more magnetic. I make myself more magnetic by connecting to the earth. Like there's a tree behind me, and just a minute ago when the sun was at a low angle, I had my back to the tree. I grounded myself. I connected myself to the earth's infinite supply of negative energy, which I was getting from that tree. I was sharing the energy from that tree to absorb the energy from the sun. But now the sun angle is a little different, so I came out to be in the sun and to do this video. Okay, and yeah, you ground yourself. You want to take your shoes off and connect to the earth, or you can connect your hands. Your hands and your feet are the most negative part of your body. They're the most receptive parts of your body to light. So keep that in mind and connect these things to source. It's the best thing to connect to source to get the benefit from it. Okay, and another way to make yourself more magnetic is to change the temperature. I mentioned to you that cold equals more magnetic, equals more negative, and it makes the situation more energy efficient. Okay, so how can I use the cold to make myself more magnetic? Okay, one thing I do, maybe 1 to 4 days out of the week, I wake up and directly jump into a tub of ice water, and I stay in ice water. I had to build up for this. In the beginning, I could only do it a couple of minutes, but now I spend 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what's going on in my life and what I have to do, and how I feel and how much I actually need. So that's one way. That's one way to do it, and that's also for another video. And I'll share with you my information and insights on this, and see what you have for me as well. Okay, and ways to make ourselves more magnetic. Okay, I think I've covered quite a bit and enough for this video, and this video is getting a little bit long, so I'll stop it right here. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was insightful, and I hope that you can give me some good comments and some good information that I can use to better myself, so that I can better you. Because in this world, in this universe, we work together. I feed off of you, you feed off of me. Thank you so much. I hope you found your purpose. I hope you live to your fullest potential, and I'll see you again in the future. Please subscribe to my videos, and let's learn together. Let's grow together. Thank you so much.